One is a sexy widow with a beautiful body. The other one is a young man of extraordinary beauty and talent. They're 20 years apart. The women don't flinch, knowing that they are friends with their son, but that doesn't stop them from wanting to be together. Kristina is a career woman whose ability to work has enabled her to achieve financial freedom at an early age. Although she is over 40, the years have not left any trace on her face, but rather, she exudes the charm of a mature woman. Recently, her husband was murdered while he was running at night, and Kristina was devastated and in tears. Her husband was murdered on a night run, and Kristina was in tears. The fact that the murderer was still at large was a thorn in the woman's side. Kristina was on her way out when she met Detective Carson, who was investigating the case. They were childhood friends, and Carson had been in love with Kristina for years. But the woman chose to turn a blind eye. At school, Sebastian is depressed by the death of her father. Sebastian is often bullied by his classmates until a boy named Klebe comes along to help him out. Sebastian was puzzled and asked why he wanted to help him. Without thinking, the boy said, "Isn't it natural for students to help each other?" Klebe's words opened Sebastian's heart, but he didn't know that his behavior had an ulterior motive. One day, Sebastian returns home with Klebe and everything changes. Kristina, as a mother, is happy to see her son overcome his grief and make new friends. Sebastian suggests that she wants to organize a rave at the house in order not to jeopardize her son's hard-earned friendships. Kristina agrees. By the end of the night, the party is in full swing. Sebastian and his longtime crush, Ella, are also having a great time chatting. Kristina sees it all and smiles like she hasn't seen in a long time. At this moment, Klebe slowly stood up. His 8-pack abs were on full display, and Kristina couldn't help but gulp wildly at the sight, as if smelling a hint of youthfulness. The next second, Klebe walked into Kristina's room on the pretext of going to the restroom. He looked around and couldn't help but pick up the picture frame and take a closer look at it. Just then, the woman enters, and the boy's face shows no sign of panic or embarrassment. On the contrary, the boy's age-appropriate mannerisms made the two of them enjoy each other's company. The next day, Kristina arrives at work and receives a letter from her secret admirer, which instantly sends ripples of excitement through the woman's heart. She has doubts, but doesn't think it has anything to do with her husband's death. That day, her son goes out on a date with his girlfriend, Joey, leaving Kristina and Klebe alone. They shared a few moments of their lives with each other, making eye contact as if they'd known each other for years. There was no sense of incompatibility at all. When Kristina was taking a shower, Klebe heard the sound of water running outside the house and couldn't help but think of something else. He was so excited that he broke into the house. When the woman saw this scene, her heart was pounding and a deer in the headlights. She didn't want to refuse and couldn't bear it too. A wonderful show began to play at this moment. A middle-aged mom, who is still in love with her son's classmate, is taking a shower when the boy approaches her with his clothes off. The woman doesn't say no, because the loss of her husband makes her long for another kind of companionship. Sebastian returns home after the date, and he gleefully shares his joy with Klebe. Kristina is delighted with her son's transformation, unaware that Klebe, with whom she has just exchanged hearts and minds, is not as glamorous as he appears to be to outsiders. After the death of his mother, his father was once again trapped by love, depressed all day long, using alcohol to paralyze himself. Father and son live in a small house of a few square meters, and that's how he got close to Kristina. Of course, there's more to it than that. The ambiguous letters that Kristina received were also from him. He was planning a bigger scheme. Kristina and her son had just gotten home that day when she received a date from Klebe. With the boy, it was like she was 18 years old again. Unexpectedly, their intimate scene was secretly captured on video. The next morning, Sebastian wakes up with no sign of her mother and realizes that she has been gone all night when she sees the bedspread that hasn't moved at all. Upon arriving at school, Joey finds Sebastian and shows him the video he recorded last night and says that Klebe approached him with bad motives. Even his name isn't Klebe, and he finished school 3 years ago. Sebastian is not surprised to know this. Sebastian was not surprised to learn this, because his mother had betrayed his father a few years ago, but he didn't understand why Klebe would do that. He wants to find Klebe and explain. After all, it's his mother's reputation that's at stake. Then Klebe met Joey, who grabbed his cell phone and sent him the video he had taken. It wasn't long before the video was uploaded online. Kristina saw it and fell into deep anxiety. This woman, who was so charming, had fallen in love with her son's classmate. She knew there was a 20-year difference between them, but she didn't hide it. However, it didn't last long. The video of the two of them getting intimate soon surfaced online. Kristina was worried when she saw it. After all, it's not an honorable thing to do. Carson, the youngest of her hair, rushed over as soon as he found out the news. Want to confirm the authenticity of the video? Kristina did not deny it and stood there with an innocent face. The man was extremely disappointed. Carson never thought that the goddess he loved for decades would do something so out of the ordinary. In any case, this was unacceptable to him. For this reason, he turned away without looking back. On the other hand, Sebastian, who appeared to be careless, went to Klebe's place alone. He wanted to find out what was going on, but just as he was about to knock on the door. But as soon as he knocked on the door, he was attacked by Klebe, and Kristina, who was waiting for her son, received an anonymous text message. Kristina receives an anonymous text message threatening to come to the appointment if she wants her son to be safe. Distraught, Kristina called Carson for help and drove to her destination. Walking into the room, the woman realizes that there is a video of a father and son playing on the screen with a man she knows very well, the man she was in love with before. The man was also Klebe's father. As the incident between the two had become public knowledge, Klebe is furious that her father had to commit suicide because he couldn't handle the publicity. And not only did he murder Kristina's husband, but he also wanted to destroy her reputation. She had nothing to lose. He then hands the woman a knife and tells her to do what her father did. Kristina wouldn't give in, so she stabbed Klebe in the thigh and ran like a madwoman. She runs into Carson, who learns the whole truth and tries to bring Klebe to justice, but Klebe has disappeared without a trace. Kristina thought of her dead husband, so she and Carson went to the woods where he was killed, but the boy suddenly attacked from behind, and then Carson fainted. Just as Kristina is about to suffer the same fate, Sebastian and his girlfriend arrive. He pleads with Klebe to spare his mother, but Klebe is too distraught to listen. At the critical moment, Joey comes from behind and struggles with Klebe. Kristina, quick as a flash, grabbed her gun and shot Klebe in the head. And in the end, Klebe paid a terrible price for his actions, for what he did. In the days that followed, Kristina was open to Carson's love, and they finally came together. This movie is cruel fixation. The recent widow is delighted when her son finds a new friend, but it soon becomes clear that he is seeking another kind of companionship. Will their attraction be her undoing? And what is the hidden secret? This is Seahorse Movie. Goo 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 goo.